We are doing our presentation today on influences on identity.
There are many factors which influence our view towards others and ourselves. However, diversity, culture, and sex and gender are the major ones. Diversity, there is no specific meaning of diversity. Perhaps it can be defined as a point of difference, where difference can be referred to anything such as ethnicity, color, caste, language, gender, thinking. There are two types of diversity that affects persons' self-conceptuality. Ethnicity. Almost two-thirds of Canadian population consists of immigrants. Canada's self-concept is changing. The image of real Canadian is changed due to different thinking and self-conceptualization of individuals. Language is the second one. It is an important feature within diversity that affects our sense to see others and ourselves. Canada is officially known as a bilingual country and is the greatest example of powerful impact of languages on self-concept. Language can have different impacts depending on culture of an individual. It can influence people diversely. For example, First Nation people living in Canada. Diversity of languages may lead to misunderstanding and interpretation, which will impact on the idea of self-conceptualization.
Culture. Culture affects all the self-concept in more subtle ways. Culture also influences a person and how they turn out to be. However, there are two types of cultures, Western cultures and traditional cultures. Western cultures includes Canadians, Americans, Australians, and European culture. They express themselves as I. They are highly individualistic. Self-promotion is more common in Western culture. Individual take care of himself and immediate family. Many flexible group memberships, friends based on shared interests and activities. Reward for individual achievement and initiation. Individual decisions encouraged. Individual credit and blame assigned. High values on autonomy, change, youth, individual security and inequality. Traditional culture, mostly Asians, express themselves as we or in groups. Person takes care of extended family before self. They reward for contribution to group goals and well-being, cooperation within group members, credit and blame share. High values on duty, order, tradition, group security, status and hierarchy. For example, as kissing is the open in Western culture, by doing so in open is considered wrong in Eastern culture. There are many drawbacks and good points in every culture, but there is no perfect culture out there. It is self which is the most perfect culture of them all.
Sex and gender is one of the other things that influences one's identity in a major way. Gender plays a big role in how people react around us in society. From the earliest months of being born, being female or male shapes the way others communicate with us, which in return shapes how we perceive ourselves. For example, comments regarding boys focus on size, strength, and activity, whereas comments about girls are more often towards beauty, sweetness, and facial responsiveness. Even though our society has changed and equality has become an important issue, there are still many differences that society puts upon between the two genders, such as stereotypes on how a male should behave and how a woman should. Self-esteem is another important issue when talking about gender. Self-esteem plays a big role in gender differences. A study done on 550 Canadian secondary school students showed that males have a higher self-esteem than their female counterparts. A woman may have a lower self-esteem due to gender differences and expectations, due to the society putting more emphasis on men having more superior abilities. Women's self-worth is more tied to the success of their social relationships or verbal skills. Despite of all these differences, research states that our self-esteem is shaped in a big way by the people with whom we communicate and how we communicate. For example, if a woman is working in a workplace where her abilities and knowledge is not used up to full potential, it can lead to a lower self-esteem, which in result would force her to find a more hospitable place to work. It is harder for children to choose their own reference groups or people around them who shape who they are, but adults have the full ability to choose who they associate with. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and these are our references.